You on stage, as I was saying earlier, are quite captivating. Did you always kind of have that charisma on stage, so to speak? Was it natural for you to kind of have the spotlight on you? Did you have fears?
At first it was hard, and then it started to become this artistic expression. Like, I'd tell stories of like Narcissus and the lake and merge it, and people like, I thought I was coming to a team building event. Like, I didn't know I was going to have this whole experience because I'm trying to ship them, but I didn't know. Like, I was trying to get in how they think, and I could feel it energetically, and there's something beautiful about that, right? So now I don't know, I'm hooked with it. It's like my drug of choice if you were to have one, right? But when I was younger, my grandma was always like, Kate, I'd pick you up in Peterborough and all the way to Campbellford. You wouldn't stop talking, right? So now I'm like,
do you think it's important for us to go back to the things that we liked as kids, just in general in life? Because, we didn't have all the voices in our heads, I feel, as kids to tell us, like, you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you don't have time, you don't have money, and all the things, all the awful things that we tell ourselves through experience and, unfortunately, from parenting or from friends and situations like that. But do you go back to a lot of people's childhoods? Like, what did you like as a kid, and what were you like as a kid? Is that what important to tell?
Go through. Like, I think, like anybody who's gone through major healing work, like the childhood stuff, it's important. Like, a lot of us as adults are still driven by things we didn't achieve or needs that were unmet as a child. And you can say, hey, I don't want to get into that, but do you want to be free of it? Do you want it to direct your whole life? Like, I don't. I mean, I think even as a kid, I was kind of like, I didn't really believe in normal or boxes or labels, and I still don't. Like, I just want to help people feel good with how they are. Like, I hear people on spectrum or neurodivergent and neurotypical and, all these things. It's like, at the end of the day, there's one big spectrum and we're all on it. And we all have, beautiful gifts, and we all have shadow sides. Like, we just do.
So it doesn't have to be something traumatic too, right? Like, a lot of times we'll think, we talk about, people will say, well, I had a great childhood. I mean, what could I even complain about? And it's not about complaining about it. It's more so tapping into some of the things that shaped you, I think, as a child for who you are today. And unfortunately, like you said, you carry those things. And I help so many people try to get over the fear of being on camera. And that's why I was going down the stage talk with you, because it's such a big fear. Like, people would rather die statistically than they would publicly speak, right? And people do not have enough confidence or the willingness to try to get over it. And I say oftentimes, like, I think when we think of ourselves as kids, a lot of people say, well, I didn't have that as a child, or I actually loved being the center of attention as a kid. And so something shifted along the way.
But I think it's like, we're built perfectly, right? Like, I'm strategic. I'm built, there's no normal, but some people would say I'm further from it if there was. But I say both. But we're built perfectly. Like, if you're called to speak and then you're scared, speak. You were called to speak. But if you're not, don't. Right? Like, I'm more terrified of small talk in a party than I am to be on stage with 20,000 people. It's just perspective.
Now, why do you think so many people then want to learn that skill? Like, because I work with people in social media and doing podcasts and things like that, people will come to me and say, I wish I was like you, or I wish I was like your business partner. I would love to have my own show. But then when we start going through the motions, I'm not sure that really is within them, because I think they are someone else than they're claiming to be, but I guess they just haven't tapped into it, like who they really are as a person.
Yeah, I mean, I think too, we're in a time of media and content is so important in our industry. And I think a lot of people who don't necessarily align with that side of things feel pushed to do it. I think sometimes people feel they have to be a big social media presence to be successful as a realtor. And we know that's not technically true. It's quicker. I think it's a quicker avenue to build your brand and be successful. Does everybody do it, or does everybody need to do it? Is it the only way? No, it's an important way, right? There's some big producers who barely do any social media, right? So I think we have this need to, show up in a certain way. But again, it's just figuring out what are your gifts? Like, what are your unique gifts, and how can you use those to do business? And this is why teams are also huge, right? Because I'm not going to be good at some parts of the business. It's a business that requires like 20 different archetypes from us. So I'll work with a business that has strengths in my area of weakness. And that to me is why teams have such an edge in real estate, whether you're pro team or not. Like, that's just a fact.